Okay friends, to get started what we're going to do is we're going to come right here and we're going to take off this outer trim panel here. To do that, if you were to look right along in between the center part and the outer part, you're going to see that there's a little tab that's kind of hidden right inside the center here. I'm just going to come in with my nice flat screwdriver, carefully pry on this, and then I should be able to carefully pull this away. We'll do the same up along the top, and there should be another one right down along the bottom. There we are. Put this aside. The next thing we're going to do is take a nice trim tool and we're going to carefully get underneath this, lift it up, and then we're going to disconnect our wiring. Just going to push on this tab, give this a nice little wiggle, draw that away. Anytime you remove any electrical, always look for any funny colors. If you see anything, it's probably corrosion that needs to be dealt with. There we are. Continue on doing the same to all the rest. Set this aside. Up inside the handle, you're going to find two 7mm headed bolts. Here, pop this off of here. Set this aside. Using a nice fork tool, let's go ahead and pull out this push clip. Now the next thing we need to do is come along the edge. I'm just going to try to pull and try to pry this away from the door. Okay. Lift up on this. Let's go ahead and grab onto this. Pull it right out of there. Remove the door panel from the vehicle. Now let's just grab onto this. We'll pull it out of here. Now the next thing we need to do is get this right out of here. You're going to notice that you have either a mounting screw or a rivet. We have a rivet, so I'm going to go ahead and drill that out. There we are. Now I'm just going to slide this, pop it off of here. Let's take a look at the back side. All right, let's just try to pop this out of here. There's one. Let's set this aside. Now the next thing we're going to do is remove our door speaker. Right along here you're going to find that there's a clip. If you just come right in between, give it a nice twist, then draw the speaker away from the door, it should pop right off. On the back side of this, we're going to remove the wiring by pressing this tab and slide this right out. So the next thing that I'm going to do is go ahead and reconnect in my window switch right here. With the window switch reconnected, let's put the window all the way down. Let's just re-disconnect this. Now the next thing we need to do is go ahead and get the vapor barrier out of the way so we can grab our wiring and we're going to put it in through this door panel. Now let's just roll this up and tape it so it's out of our way. Just going to go ahead and get under this clip right here, open this up. Let's go ahead and pull out these anchor points here. There we are. Now if you were to come along the back side of each of these anchor points, you're going to find that there's two little tabs. If you just squeeze them together, you should be able to draw these off. Almost. There we are. Let's do the same to the rest. One for the speaker wire here. Okay, so that just leaves the wire that goes up to your door lock. We'll worry about that in a second. Let's continue on to removing our mounting bolts that are going to be holding this plate to the actual door itself. Small screws are out. Let's just get this last big one. So now the next thing we need to do is follow this wiring. We're going to go ahead and carefully grab onto this and just try to separate it from the door. If you were to lift up on this right here, you're going to find where the wiring goes into your power lock actuator. Let's go ahead and disconnect that. There we are. Let's lift up on this. God damn it. Two little push pins right here. Squeeze those tabs. pull this through. Now let's take the rest of this wiring, put it through this hole so it's on the inside there. So now what we're going to do is take a look at the inside here. Right along this area, you're going to see that there's areas where the connecting rods are going to be located. Just go ahead and grab onto this. You should be able to pop it right out of there. The same thing to the other one. Okay. Now I'm just going to go ahead and pull down on this and separate that from there. I'm going to try to move these out of the way so we can have a nice clear view of what's going on down here. Now looking inside here, we want to make sure that we disconnect the window motor as well. Usually you can just squeeze the tab and then just go ahead and draw that right off. And set all this wiring aside. So now we have a nice clear view of our window regulator from inside the door panel. If you were to follow it down, you're going to see there's an area where the window itself has a track and the window regulator has a couple of these little rollers right here that need to fit inside of it. What we need to do at this point is pull this door panel away from the door itself and slide it forward so this roller slides out. And then we'll continue by rotating the door panel and then pulling that rearward one out through the front as well. At this point, we can continue on to grabbing that door panel. I'm going to slide it forward. You can watch that forward roller. As soon as it slides out of there, I'm going to continue on by twisting this door panel now and bringing out that rearward one as well. At this point, we can get this right out of here and we can continue. The next thing we're going to do is remove our 3 T30 Torx bits. As you do that, keep in mind that there isn't going to be anything holding this latch in, so we're going to hold it from the back side when we get to the last one. So now typically if you wanted to, you could probably reach right behind the door panel to access this and be able to hold on to it. I have this out of the way because it's going to be much easier for us to film, and of course it's easier for me to get to. So now we need to get the rods off of the latch. That's going to be easiest with it unattached from the door. If you use something small like this or even a pick, you can get underneath the lip where the rod connects onto the actual latch itself. You're going to find that there's a clip that kind of just comes around, and then it has 2 little ears that hold onto the rod. Just go ahead and get under it, peen it up a tiny bit, then you should be able to slide the rod right out of there. All right, just set this aside so you can remember exactly where it goes into the new latch. Now the next thing we're going to have to do is slide the window to the upward position so we can access this back here. Obviously you're going to have to hold up the window. I'm just going to use a pair of vice grips right here. I'm just going to use a pair of locking pliers right on the channel, and that's going to hold it so the window can't go anywhere. Obviously if you want to put a couple on there, it's probably going to be safer. Now the next thing that we need to do is access the bolt that should be right here. It's basically going to be a bolt that holds the handle to the door. Remove that. And then as you come along outside of the door, right here, you're going to find another. Go ahead and remove the pair. Now with that off of there, we can grab onto this handle. I'm just going to break it free from the door, being careful not to scratch the paint. And we'll pull it right out of here. So now with the handle out of the door, we can go ahead and release this tab right here. And that should make it so this will pull out. There we are. We continue by removing the handle completely. I'm just going to reach from the inside here. I'll grab onto that latch, give it a little twist, pull it right out of there. Now we've got our old latch next to our brand new latch. Let's start transferring everything over. I'm going to do one rod at a time. That's going to make it easiest for when we put things back together. Go ahead and put that into the corresponding hole. Make sure it's secure and it's definitely not falling out. We'll do this last one. Something that I want to show you real quick is if you just push on this tab right here, typically you can slide these. A lot of times if they're old and frozen like this, they might not, but perfect. All right, now let's get our latch inside of the door. We're going to come in at an angle like this, and then as we get in around the window channel, just turn it so it's lined up with the way it needs to be. There we are. Let's come around to the handle. So now something we need to look at on the latch is this hole right here. It's going to be closest to where that rod is. That's where this red rod is going to go, down inside here. So let's go ahead and start that in, just like that. Make sure it's going straight and in. Now we'll just carefully bring this down. I'm going to hook in my last connecting rod right along here. Make sure it's locked. That feels good. Let's go ahead and put this handle back in now. Slide that right in there. Let's start in our mounting bolts. All right, let's do the inside one. Now let's move along to the latch. We've got our 3 mounting bolts. Start them all in, then snug them up. Now let's go ahead and bring the window to the fully down position. Now it's going to be time to put our other rod onto the latch. We're just going to take this, I'm going to find the hole where it lines up with, go ahead and latch it in, make sure it's secure. Perfect. All right, now it's going to be time to get our inside panel on here. Something that I want to mention real quick is, of course, you have your rollers, and those need to go back into this channel. So as we go, we're going to start with the rearward one and then continue on to the front. We also have all these wires. Those need to go through this hole right here. So once we get the rollers into the channel, we'll continue on by putting on all those wires. There we are. I have both of the rollers inside the channel. All right, so now I have the majority of the wires out through the hole right here. And then as you're gonna notice, as the main harness kind of branches off right here, I've got a push clip. I'm gonna bring this orange looking wire coming across here, put it into all its little push clips holes, and then up and inside to where the door lock is gonna be. Let's go ahead and connect this in. There we are. Of course, we're gonna recover it. Looking back out here, you're going to see you have this wire. This just goes right up on here. Go ahead and latch that in. So now we have these wires sitting out here. That's going to be going to where the window switch and everything else is. You have this one right here. And then looking behind the panel, up in the front, we have a couple other things to pay attention to. This is the rest of the harness right here. This small set of wires is going to be for the speaker. So that's going to be dangling all the way down near the speaker hole. The other set of wires is going to be the one that goes to the window motor. So we're going to need to make sure we connect that in. Okay. Click it in, give it a nice wiggle. Let's just go ahead and secure that in. Something I want to pay attention to is the leftover amount of wire that's going to be hanging out inside here. Obviously, if you leave this flapping around, it could potentially get caught on the window as it goes up and down, or even in the gear of the window regulator. Either way, it's going to be very bad. So just continue on to trying to either tape this, or of course you can use a wire tie of some sort. Go ahead and pin it right up against this wire. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and install our 2 rods. We want to make sure that this piton right here fits into this hole. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring my panel in. Push this right on through there. Now the next thing we need to do is cross these rods. Basically the rod that's on the bottom needs to come towards this panel, up and over, and then we're going to go ahead and do just like this, and then slide the bottom rod into this channel right here. Do the same to this one. Make sure they flow. Make sure everything's still connected. Awesome. Let's go ahead and put the panel onto the door. We'll start in all of our mounting screws and then snug them up. Now that all the small ones are nice and snug, let's do the big one. Just go ahead and get our vapor barrier back on here. Now it's going to be time to install our inside door handle. Real quick looking at the back, you can see that you have one rod that's going to be located right here. That's going to come in from the top and down. And then you'll have this one right here. That's going to be hidden down low. And of course, it's going to come in through the back and in. Now I'm just going to reach inside here. I can find the lower. I'm just going to go ahead and push this rod right in there. Once I get it in, I'll continue on to doing the next one. And that one's pretty much located right about here inside. Now using some needle nose pliers, we can hold on to that rod. We'll start in the last rod. There we are. Slide it right in there. Double check to make sure they're both installed properly. I'm just going to take this. Once you press it in, you're going to see that you have all these lined up. Slide it rearward, and now just go ahead and install your rivet. Let's go ahead and install our speaker. You're going to have two ears. You want to put those into their slots, just like that. Now you have a squeeze tab right there. As you press, it should lock in. Give it a nice wiggle, make sure it's secured. All right, now it's going to be time to get our door panel back on here. Something that I want to show you real quick is you want to make sure that you have all of your little push pins, and those are going to go into the door panel itself. Other than that, we of course have our bulb right here. That's going to go into where the lamp's supposed to be. Just clips right in. After you do that, go ahead and take the rest of the wiring, put it up and in through the door handle. At this point, we're going to come up nice and high, up and over where this is supposed to sit onto. Slide it down as we push in. There we are. As you can see, it's not exactly lined up, so we need to continue. There we are. Go around pushing all of your push pins. Let's go ahead and take the wire that's going to go to the speaker, put it through this forward hole. Now we'll connect it in. Let's continue on by connecting in the rest of our wiring harnesses. Double check to make sure they're all connected in completely. You're going to notice that you have a little hooky-doo right here. That's going to slide under, so we're going to come in at an angle, bring it down and under like I said. Now we'll just continue on by pushing the rest of this in. Once it's lined up, just give it a light bonk. Perfect. Now let's put on this plate. Now let's put in our two long bolts into the handle. Start that one. Reinstall the clip. All right, now it's going to be time to get this foam piece back in there. Go ahead and squish it down, pack it in there. Now it's going to be time to install our last trim piece here. You're going to notice you have these little flippies that are going to go on the inside of the door panel, and then you have the outer edge that goes along the outer portion. Let's go ahead and slide it down on there. Now I'm going to grab onto this door panel. I'm going to gently pull it away, and then from the back side here, I'm just going to help the little piton down into its hole and put it in. So now to test to make sure that we installed the latch properly, we want to go ahead and do this, and that's going to make the latch think that the door is shut. At this point, I'm going to apply gentle pressure on it, just like this, and I'll come over and I'll tug on the handle. As you saw, it released. That's perfect. I'm going to go ahead and close that again, and now I'm going to pull from the outside door handle. Try again. That released perfect. Lock it one more time, and now we're going to lock the door. All right. I'm going to pull on the inside handle while I'm doing this. Nothing. Nothing. Unlocked. Perfect.